Mike.
I'm Brad.
And this is Ministry Chemistry.
Good. Can you say it faster?
Here we go.
Welcome to another episode of Ministry Chemistry, where we are just rearing to go today.
Oh my, are we?
Yes. Last week's episode got a little serious. It was a little in the trenches of, considering the president and prayer, and I felt heavy.
When you say it like that, it sounds more serious. The president.
Well, he's the president.
If they haven't listened, they're not going to now.
As a watcher of West Wing, I know how
Oh,
serious things get in
just
that
finished.
big White House.
Never watched West Wing.
What?
Mm-mm.
It's so
I just
good.
finished the series and started over again. Love
that
it.
good?
I've seen it.
It's that good.
I've seen
Okay, I
it.
haven't said. We started House of Cards, and then I felt unchristian for watching
You
it.
should.
We
Yeah.
got like halfway through the first season,
You gotta be a
maybe,
Westie.
and I was like,
Oh yeah,
this
it's
is pretty rough.
It's icky. It has some icky parts, but I have good people in my life that watch it and love it, but I can't do it.
Well, I think we were like maybe halfway through it when the whole Kevin Spacey thing came out, and he's kind of disgusting in the show, and then that made him seem even more disgusting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Like even the scenes where it's not graphic, you just feel like
icky.
it's just wrong.
Icky.
You know what I mean?
You know what's not icky?
West Wing.
The West Wing.
Right.
Guaranteed.
writing.
And if you just watch it, you're gonna cry in a couple episodes. Like those really good, warm.
A couple. There's
feelings.
156. I
Yeah.
cried in at least half of them.
150. Yeah, that's why it's so good.
156. I just
There's
finished
7 seasons.
three days ago.
And if it ever goes off Netflix, don't worry. I have all the DVDs.
Oh, excellent.
DVDs.
You're my dealer.
I do. Yeah. It's so good. You should watch it. I also just finished Veep, which I have never watched a show with more atrocious language. And I almost stopped for the same reasons you did. But
And you watch Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is so good.
which probably has more language than Veep.
Sorry, we don't only talk about entertainment. No. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel has words here and there. Veep has full-on phrases and paragraphs that will make you go, oh my gosh, my ears can never be healed.
Which is why I
There are
didn't
no
watch it.
contractions. It's
It is awful.
All right, let's get on topic because
Okay.
you're going to turn me into judgmental Mike, and
Yeah,
I don't
don't.
want to. I don't want to be judgmental
It's like
Mike today.
it's like what's the Office Mike? Like he's like I'm jail prison Mike, judgmental Mike
yeah,
is here.
yeah. I want to be more like Scott's Tots.
Okay, today, because of the David Platt conversation from last week, and it was a blip on the social media radar, which so much of our conversations in today's world are. They're these blips. They're these flash in the pan kind of one day sound bites. And we talk about them, and then we move on and sort of forget them. Forget they existed, forget they were things, but we get so passionate in the moment about them. And I say we as in not just the three of us around this table, but I guarantee you this week, something will pop up either at a personal level or some sort of societal level, and you'll go, I have a real opinion about this. Or you'll say, I can't believe people have a real opinion about this. And so we're going to talk about that today and how it's changed the way we converse, the way we have dialogue, and the way we're able to teach and be instructed as well. So my first easy question for you gentlemen
Famous last
is
words.
this. What social media platforms are you on? Do you give validity to and have handles and, operate in those spaces?
Okay.
Like Breaker 19.
I do email.
That's not social media.
You'll show my age.
AOL.
I do
Instant
have an
Messenger.
AOL account.
Instant
Do you still have
message.
IM?
I do not.
away messages?
The funny thing is when Jill and I give our email addresses, we're always like, yeah, we're those people because we still have an AOL
Yeah.
account.
Oh, great.
But anyway, okay. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. And that might be it. I don't know.
Mike?
So Instagram and Snapchat primarily for student engagement because that's where they live.
Mhm.
I scroll Twitter. I don't really engage anything there. I just mindlessly scroll.
Scroll,
Mhm.
not troll.
And Facebook, and that's again scrolling. Use it some for more parent connection.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say I post to Facebook maybe like once a month.
That's not true. You post the podcast like every week. So that's at least 4 times a month.
So I would say like
5 times a
a
month.
personal post.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like outside the context of this.
Okay.
I've actually had
Yeah.
more teens go back to Facebook.
Really?
Why?
I don't know. I've seen quite a few more pop up there. I'm
Sorry,
like,
Facebook,
well,
but you're.
this is awesome. Now I don't have to get on that other
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I love Twitter. Like when I can have some time to read and like sort through threads, and I just most diverse voices, like access to those are on Twitter. In fact, Mike follows me on Twitter, and he said, I don't know your political leanings based on some of the things I like and post and retweet. And I'm
Well-
like, that's good. You wouldn't have known Jesus is. So I'm like,
Well,
Jesus.
that's true. That's true now, but I mean the birthday of this podcast, I thought I knew your political leanings well based on your, and it's, I mean, that's very, presumptive of me to think, well, I know which way you lean just because I see Renee liked next to stuff.
Which
Know
I
what I
kind
mean?
of get. I really have to think about that. If you're on Twitter, not only do you see things that you tweet, that you retweet, but if you just like something, and Facebook's like that too now.
Yeah.
If I like something that no one else in my friend group is affiliated with, they sometimes will see that I've liked it.
I've warned students about that.
Oh, that's where you get in trouble.
It's like, I follow you on Twitter, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, like, did you read what you liked? Because basically, when you like it, or it's the same as retweeting it as far as your followers go. You might as well have retweeted it because you just
might have written it.
Yeah, you just like something with like 25 F-bombs and 150 characters.
Well, and that's where Instagram is different, right? Because you can't see what other people liked like that.
Right.
So it's a little bit more guarded. But yeah, it's crazy.
I was thinking though, Twitter. Oh man, Twitter is the ultimate creator of FOMO,
fear of missing out.
fear of missing out.
Really? Twitter is.
I think so because it comes at you so fast. I mean, and I don't get caught up in that, but I can see how people are, because I mean, if you're away from Twitter for more than a day,
You've missed out
oh my gosh.
on so much.
Oh my gosh. And that's
But not
only
really.
that's only if you follow maybe, a couple hundred people.
Right.
I'll probably
Yes.
follow maybe 200 people
Yeah.
tops. But it comes at you so fast, you're like, holy crap, what am, because you'll see like
Big
one,
things are happening.
well, you see like one post and there's no context, and then you keep scrolling like, I need more context for this. What happened? And then you're like, holy crap, how did I miss that?
Well, that's how things like I knew that we talked about this many episodes ago about the students from Kentucky, Covington,
Yeah.
and that interaction with the Native Americans. Like I was like, holy smokes, this is a story. Like I don't think I would have known that otherwise if I hadn't been scrolling my Twitter feed. David Platt's story, like I didn't even know that was a thing, but I was scrolling my Twitter feed.
Same.
So
Same. The
Beth Moore complementarian, egalitarian, all that's blown up on Twitter, which is interesting because like Albert Mohler has weighed in, and you've got like Russ Moore and Denny Burke and these people of the Southern Baptist Convention. And if you go to then their conference and then you're like, what is even this thing? If you're not on Twitter, you might not know.
So basically what Renee is saying, that our episodes are driven completely by Twitter. No,
So if you don't want to listen,
that's
just get on Twitter.
that's not entirely true. Well, I mean, I
Because
think
eventually they make the mainstream
Well,
media and
well,
there's other things.
I think too, like, we're on Twitter. We know probably most of our audience is, so we're just engaging further, which was what we're trying to do right now. We're engaging further discussion rather than just a 150 character blip on the map.
Well, and it's given another medium to visualize it. I'm a visual learner, and to put some pictures and words and just other streams of thought around things that you might be talking about anyway in your homes or with your people. We were talking about, there's an Instagram account called Preachers and Sneakers. Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Yeah.
It's great.
Someone else can explain what Preachers and Sneakers is.
Oh, you want me to explain?
Yeah, can you?
Sure. Basically, it's a photo of prominent preachers, and they're
Sneakers.
in their clothes, and then kind of
Yeah, that would be awkward.
Instead
Yeah,
of
so,
not
yeah.
in their clothes.
Well, it's a photo of prominent preachers, usually on stage, like at their churches, and
They're
then
not naked.
basically there's a collage next to it that shows the average selling price of the clothes that they're wearing.
Yeah.
Right.
Usually it's the sneakers, but in some cases, I mean, I've seen Gucci belts and clothing attached to that as well. But usually it's sneakers. That's kind of what was born. The craziest one, I don't remember the preacher's name. He's a
Yes,
prominent
you do.
preacher. I really don't.
Okay.
But he had a pair of like old school Jordan classics on that were
Yeah.
going for what, $3,500 or something
Yeah.
like that. What?
Which goes back to a conversation we had with Zach a few weeks ago about, do we really get to say how people spend their money? Like, you could always be like, if you would have gotten the Wendy's Super Value meal versus the, this.
It's the full.
Yeah.
Trying to think back.
Four
Preachers
for
and
four.
sneakers may have been briefly mentioned on
In
that one,
that,
but I
yeah.
don't remember. So I have a question on the social media thing, Twitter specifically.
Mhm.
You mentioned, more recently we had talked about the Beth Moore thing, driving that complementarian,
Mhm.
and people that have chimed in. Has Twitter changed your opinion of people
Of people. Like, of those
Based-
figures that are weighing in?
based on? And I mean, I'm just using that as an example,
Sure,
but
sure.
but has Twitter changed your opinion of someone based on what they've posted themselves, or what they've retweeted, or what you've seen them like?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's changed my. Maybe, yeah. Yes, it has influenced my opinion.
Has it changed the
As I
way?
think through
Is it influenced how you
Or-
view that person?
Yeah, it's revealed more to me. So, like, I followed Beth Moore before she became as sassy as she was. I'm going to say it like that. But I don't think it was before she
Past
became as
tense?
sassy as she is.
I
I think
mean,
her sassiness has been revealed in my.
I was gonna say
following
I
her.
don't know Beth Moore, but just the way she preaches and stuff
yeah.
like that,
She's
I
got
get
sassiness
she's
to her.
feisty.
And love
which
it.
I mean, I
I
love
love
that
it.
about her. Yes,
Um,
yes.
So Beth Moore's a
That's
good example.
Spicy meatball.
I intentionally follow people that I don't agree with on political issues and that are
Same.
different theologically than me, different racially than me, because I don't want to be blinders on. Like, I want to make sure I'm exposed to a lot of different voices and
Yeah.
thoughts, and making sure I'm doing all I can to be a well-rounded intellectual.
Brad,
Again, I'm not on Twitter, so I don't follow anybody.
I thought you were on Twitter.
I'm not.
Do you follow any famous people on Instagram?
No.
Well, I mean,
I-
well,
Oh,
well,
yes, and I quit Snapchat.
well, change
because-
the platform. I mean, the same truth applies.
But that's the thing. If you're not on Twitter, you don't typically follow people that you don't know.
That's true, because Facebook
Twitter
is
is
just
the
like
place you follow people you
friends.
don't know.
Yeah.
That's true. The context is different.
Instagram, you can
But even, I mean, I think to some, maybe a smaller degree, it still applies to Facebook, because you're friends with a lot more people on Facebook than you're actually friends with.
oh yeah.
Really?
So
Then you're actually friends
I'm
with
not
yeah.
friends with 1,400 people.
I mean, have
You
you
were
seen?
at some point in your life.
so
connected
use
with
that
them.
context. Have you seen people post or like or whatever on Facebook? And
It's horrendous.
has it been surprising in a way that would change your viewpoint of that person?
I often wonder what's going through people's minds as they're posting,
Yeah.
because of what they're posting.
Hmm.
I don't know that I could sit across the table from them and have them actually say what they're posting.
Yeah.
And
Or the source, like if they're reposting something
Yeah.
and you're like, do you even know what that organization stands
Yeah.
for or does?
Or did
'Cause
you read it?
I need you to, because you've now put your name connected to that,
Mhm.
and it
Mhm.
really bothers me that you did.
it's similar to several years ago. I wanted to get some buy-in from the teens for the youth group, have them feel a part of something. So I got them sweatshirts with our logo on it. And one kid, he posted a ton of pictures of himself in that sweatshirt doing things that frankly were illegal.
Oh,
And so it's
what a
like,
great ad.
would you really, what are you thinking, kind of? And so there is such, even though there's not anonymity, there's this disconnect that yeah, I can post
Absolutely.
anything. And so yes, it does affect how I think about them. Yes, it in some cases affects the way that I interact with them, because I don't want to be fodder for them to post.
Hmm.
I have to be, I typically am a little more cautious about what I say and how I say it around them.
I get
The Facebook context itself, you're right, it is different. It's a different platform. It's used differently. But I'm with you. Piggybacking off our last conversation with the president and praying for the president, Facebook has dampened my respect for some people that I thought were very strong Christians that have sold out wholesale to
their political leanings,
to the gospel of Trump.
Yeah, I
so
think
just
it's
seeing how they portray themselves as Christians who've sold out wholesale to that.
well, and people that delight in, this sounds so silly, but like unfriending folks on Facebook because of postings and leanings and opinions, and like, well, clearing my life of those folks, and I get it because I don't want to see that stuff either, but I just hide it.
I was going to say the greatest feature on Facebook is
just
hide.
hiding it.
You don't even know I've hid you.
But then there's so Brad, you said something that made me think the Facebook world, the Insta-face Twitterverse that we live in, has changed the way we dialogue with people too, and the conversations that we have. Like,
Do we dialogue?
well, yeah, I had a family member go to their high school reunion, and the family member said it was basically you're talking with someone who you're Facebook friends with. So you've seen pictures of their kids, you know who their spouse is, you know what they do for a living, and sometimes you know their political leanings. So your conversations are really just confirmations of the information that you've been privy to via Facebook or Instagram. Instead of like, how are you? What's your family like? Where do you live now? Oh, do you like it? You already kind of know those things.
All right, so that brings up an etiquette question.
Ooh.
Okay. Is it okay to bring up a Facebook post and a face-to-face conversation?
Yes.
Like, I saw what you posted on Facebook.
Yes.
Does it depend on the person?
Yes.
How well you know the person?
I think it does.
Because, like, yeah, we could say that to each other, but like, let's say you just run into someone in the grocery store that you're maybe an acquaintance with, maybe like
I've avoided people.
your kids go to school with or something like that.
Like,
But
I'll
you're
be Facebook
friends
friends with
them
you,
on
but I
Facebook.
don't want to see you in the store. Like, I'll go in another aisle because I don't want to have the conversation because we have nothing to talk about. 8 years ago, we might have known each other, but now I'm like,
It's funny. I feel like older Facebook users like don't understand that
oh, it is.
that barrier. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we live in the digital world together, but we don't live in the personal world together.
Say that again. We live in the digital world together.
We live in the digital world together.
We don't live in the personal world together. I tell you, I would agree with that.
You didn't finish. You were just echoing what she was saying.
Because I'll
Say
tell you,
what I
a
said.
pet peeve of mine, and I try to have grace and compassion because we are living in this new world, but I don't want to, like, gossip, right? I don't want you to tell me something only because you saw it on, like, don't give me the Facebook updates. Don't try to say, hey, did you see so-and-so's getting married? Or, hey, did you see so-and-so, da-da-da? And I'm like, oh, have you talked to them recently? Well, no, I saw it on Facebook. Okay. Well, then maybe I'm not supposed to know that. Or, like, if I'm supposed to know someone died, if I don't know you personally and well enough, like, to know that you died, then maybe I don't get to know that you died. But there again comes, I can counter that with.
I can't tell you that, though.
Right, you're dead. What I can counter that with is Facebook, the new newspaper. Like, I don't read the newspaper daily. And that's where you would have learned if someone
Is there
died
a
or not.
newspaper?
I say Facebook.
I look up obituaries on
I'd
Google
say Facebook's
sometimes.
more like the new National Enquirer.
Really?
Interesting.
Aliens on the front page.
There are online, but
Or like Us Weekly.
Nate Piles
Or
has a
Pete.
great alien comic series right now, by the way. Have you seen this?
uh-uh.
If people find quirky humor funny, look up Nate Pyle and look up his alien sketches. It's all about what if we approached the world like we didn't even know what was what. That's just an aside, and you can find it on social
Or
media.
who was who?
But it is. I try not to get annoyed by it, but sometimes I'm like, man, I want to know you and I want to have deep conversations and know your heart. And if we're not at that level, if we're only at a Facebook level, then I don't know. Am I responsible for knowing things about you post on Facebook too?
I just thought, what would be a fun experiment to have a youth group or Bible study, a small group, this would work too, and put people's posts on the screen during it. And if they got mad, you could be like, well, you put this out there for
Everyone to see.
everyone who has access or could hack
We
your
want
account
people
to see.
come to church,
So
man.
why can't
Driving people
why
out.
can't we talk about this digital space within the personal space?
With you physically present.
Why can't we bring this to light?
To
like
own it.
like I would love some of my students. I would love to put tweets that they have liked and retweeted on the screen in front of the whole youth group, and be like, okay, are you okay with us seeing this in this context?
Or like
Because you were okay with us seeing this in a digital context. You thought nothing of liking this tweet that's full of F-bombs, that's full of vulgar material. So why is it less okay for us to see it in person?
man, bring it in the light, plank in the eye, right there.
Right?
Yeah. That would be a fun experiment for you.
It would be fun for me to come to your youth group and do that, but not.
I think I might do it.
Okay.
I think I'm going to do
Can
it.
I come watch?
Yeah, I want to be there.
Or does that ruin the experiment? Like you have outliers now.
No, but I mean, I think that fits into what we're saying.
It does.
you
Take
know?
it out of a youth group context. What if your
Yeah.
boss did that? You're sitting in a staff meeting and the boss just starts scrolling your most recent social media feed. Like,
That's a great point. That's a great point. Like,
hey, you represent our company in some regard, or you
We-
represent our organization.
we had a girl, a coworker's daughter, riding the jump seat the other night. She wants experience because she's thinking about becoming a flight attendant, and she was talking about, basically not even cleaning up. She's like, I don't do anything wrong. She's like, I just want to make sure like no one's tagged me in something that if I applied. I mean, a friend of mine got turned down for a job because he was tagged in something that wasn't even like vulgar. It was just stupid. But and it wasn't even something that he posted.
But that's the new. That's kind of the new check for colleges. They troll you on.
Yeah,
on
employers are using it.
Oh my
Colleges are
gosh.
using it. It is exposure at that level, and I think we talk about it in terms of it not being good for teens, but there's a question about how much it's rotting adult brains too. Like I have friends who've tapped out of social media because fear of missing out, or the comparison trap that it causes,
Oh yeah.
or that whole we don't agree, and therefore I don't even want to see what you have to say because we don't even know each other at a personal level, and at a digital level, I don't want to know you.
Well, we mentioned we were talking about Stephen Furtick earlier, and he had a great line in the sermon about that. He's like, we're comparing our practice to everyone else's highlight reel, and that's very true in the social media regard, because like no one posts their crap on Facebook
No.
or their I mean, we all know people whose life is a hot mess. You look on Facebook and like everything's great. We're at the beach. We're enjoying life together, and it's like, I just had lunch with you yesterday, and you said your family sucks. I mean, stuff like that. I'm not giving a
You didn't
specific
say anything
example.
about
I'm
our
just
lunch.
Well, and so no, you don't post when your life is crap, but you do have those people who do post when it's bad, and then you wonder like, why are you putting that all on social media? I don't want to read all
Can I
that.
just highlight something?
Yes.
Is this
Is
confession?
this judgmental, Mike?
No, it's
Prison life.
yes, it's judgmental. If you do this, don't do this. Don't take the time to take a picture of your sick kid to put it on Facebook. Like,
To
just
say my kid is sick.
be there with your kid.
Mm.
I
Put
need
your
everybody
phone
to know that
down,
my kid's sick, though.
Put your
if
phone
they
down
don't know.
and take care of your kid.
It is interesting how angst-inducing events become when a picture's not taken or the perfect picture's not taken yet, right? To just sit back and enjoy a moment, enjoy a landscape, and need to be.
I'm reading a great book
there.
right now. It's 12 Ways Your Phone is Changing You.
Ooh, who's that by?
I don't know who it's by. It's a good
Just
book.
make up a name.
It's a good book. It's a good book. It's written from a Christian perspective.
12 Ways Your Phone is
12
Changing
Ways
You.
Your Phone is Changing You. It's very, very much to do. It's phone in general, very much written with social media apps in mind that are available on your phone. But he talks about that very thing. He's talking about, I think it was Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp shows up to a movie premiere, and he's talking about like everyone in the crowd has their phone up like this. He's talking about this photographer was mindful enough to turn away from Johnny Depp and take a picture of the crowd.
Interesting.
And
So they didn't actually
you-
see Johnny Depp. They saw Johnny Depp through their phone.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So he's talking about that this photographer captured the context of that moment. And he says, in the middle of this crowd of people with their phones up is an older lady with her arms crossed, leaning on the rail, just soaking in the moment. And
There's something beautiful about that.
I've
Not the Johnny Depp part. I mean, but I'm just saying, like, is there
Something
something?
yeah,
beautiful about
yeah. I
Johnny
mean,
Depp.
it definitely paints a scene,
Yeah.
you know? So,
I've gone through periods of time where I go to a lot of kids events,
yeah.
a lot of teen events. I'm going to a lot of games, a lot of concerts, a lot of everything. And what I realized that I started to do was I always take pictures while I'm there. And what I would do is I would edit those photos while I'm at the event. And so what I'm doing is I'm not experiencing the event. I'm looking at it through a lens, and then I'm paying attention to that rather than to being fully present in the event.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to really think about, I might be able to take a picture, but take a picture and then put it away so
Right.
you can actually be there, a part of the event, and not have, if they look up in the crowd and they see you with your phone up, what does that translate? What does that tell them? Yes, you want to record it, but you're not getting the full experience of it. I'm an
Yeah. What are you here
experiential
for? Are you
guy.
here for me? Are you here to watch this game or this?
Right.
Hear this concert, or are you here to document that you were here?
Mhm.
I've heard that more bands now are basically asking their audience members
The
to
phone.
put their phone away
Mm.
Yeah.
because so many people are trying to capture the concert
Mhm.
rather than just enjoy it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
get-
guilty of that.
I get the appeal of it. Jess and I, this is one of our hot points. Like, we're on vacation and we're doing anything. She's very much capture the moment, and I'm very much experience the moment.
Mm.
And there's always a tension there because I'm like, hey, put your phone away and let's just be in the moment. And she's like, well, but at the same time, like afterwards, I'm like, oh, I'm glad you took that picture. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Well, and photos are a whole nother realm of conversation because I have photo albums. My mom's put together photo albums from when my sister and I were kids. And so we have pictures of like us and our cousins in our swimsuits at the beach. But it's like, hey, before everyone goes and gets in the ocean, everyone get on the bed. We'll take one picture. You're not going to take 8 and see which one is the best one because that would have been ridiculous. It was one picture.
called
However you
film.
look. And then everyone go jump in the ocean and the camera stays in the room.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I bet you the average 13-year-old with a smartphone has more pictures than your mom and the 3 generations that preceded her have
In photo albums.
all combined for their entire life.
That's an interesting thought.
I would guarantee it.
By a bunch.
Yeah,
By a bunch.
by a long shot.
Yeah. Huh. That's your challenge this week, ladies and gentlemen. Go see how many pictures you have hard copies of in photo albums at your home versus how many you've either got stored on your phone or downloaded into your cloud. And that's the other sad part about photos too, right? Like, I love looking at old photos and having them in my hands versus like passing a device, which people who are maybe way more techie than I am would maybe think that's ridiculous. But there's something about a home with pictures of people on the walls versus not. I've noticed that too when I walk into people's homes, how many
Yeah.
pictures of family and friends there are around versus not. And there's a difference. There's a different feel to the space. Not saying right or wrong, good or bad. It's just different.
Different ain't wrong. It's just different.
It's just different. So in this InstaFace Twitterverse, you know what? You could follow any of us if you can get permission, because some of us have blocks on some things. But definitely
We're going to
check out
hide you.
Ministry Chemistry on all the social medias and promote them. Yep, this is a self-promotion because it helps more people maybe be able to listen in and think on questions like, what social media platforms are you on? Why? And how does it influence and affect you in your personal relationships and lives outside of this digital technological world that we all find ourselves having to engage with? For Ministry Chemistry, I'm Renee.
Still Mike.
And Brad.
We'll see you next time.